It is Monday, the 5th of May, 2025 at Protestia Studios. This is an intelligence briefing coming to you from Protestia.com, where, as always, go to find the latest in Christian polemics and discernment news. Sign up for our insurgency email blast and support this ministry financially over at patreon.com/Protestia by becoming a Protestia Insider. $5.95 a month with the yearly discount, free ad-free browsing on the website, and access to all of Protestia's additional content, including our polemics catechism, which is available now at patreon.com/Protestia. Let's get into the headlines. First headline at Protestia.com. Dr. Michael Brown's elder team clears him of serious wrongdoing, recommends full restoration and return to ministry days after Firefly concluded its independent investigation into sexual misconduct, allegations against noted author and apologist Dr. Michael Brown, finding that he engaged in sexually abusive misconduct. Brown's elder accountability team released a series of recommendations for him at the Line of Fire Board of Directors, including that he be promptly and fully restored back to ministry. Michael Brown's elder accountability team consists of Jonathan Bernis, president and CEO of Jewish Voice Ministries International, Raleigh Washington, the founder and pastor emeritus of Rock of Our Salvation Evangelical Free Church in Chicago, Leif Hetland, the founder and president of Global Mission Awareness, and Mark and Nikki Pfeiffer, the lead pastors of Open Door Church in Chillicothe, Ohio, I think that's how it's pronounced, as well as the, quote, apostolic overseers of a network of congregations, ministries, and schools called the Soma Family of Ministries. We can't say at Protestia this surprises us all, very much at all. This is pretty standard fare in charismatic circles, that when there's misconduct or things that might, even if they weren't sexually abusive, might be disqualifying from pastoral ministry, it's not uncommon to have a group of other charismatics sign off on restoring the person in question to ministry. That's what appears it appears happened with Michael Brown here, but you can read the details about this, including his ministry director's concerns with the Firefly investigation. Some of those concerns we share, like the overly expansive view of what constitutes sexual abuse. But in any case, it seems that there were adulterous relationships, inappropriate relationships for sure. And we would have our concerns with it. You can read more over at Protestia.com, but suffice to say, we are not surprised that Dr. Michael Brown's elder team has cleared him to be restored to ministry. Let's move on. Next headline at Protestia.com. Prominent Canadian prophet Art Lusher accused of sexual assault and faces lawsuit. Art Lusher, I think it's how it's pronounced, is a prominent Canadian prophet, quote unquote, and the pastor of Kelowna Harvest Church in Kelowna, British Columbia, a church group known for their ecstatic charismatic manifestations and fivefold theology. He is also the apostolic overseer of Harvest Ministries International, an organization he founded with his wife, and known for his involvement in Canadian Firewall, a national prayer initiative, leading Battle for Canada gatherings, and heading up multiple prophetic networks, quote unquote. For years, he's been battling allegations of spiritual abuse, emotional manipulation, and reports of inappropriate physical behavior, announcing earlier this month that he was stepping back from public ministry after admitting to sins against the Lord and his wife, according to him. 2 days ago, two women independently filed lawsuits in the Vancouver law courts against Kelowna Harvest Fellowship, alleging Lusher, again, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, sexually abused them, and that the church covered it up. You can read more about this over at Protestia.com, including the official statement from the church in response to this. Moving on, next headline at Protestia.com, Stone Choir co-hosts private chat leaks reveal filthy sexual and violent messages. Treble Woe is the online moniker of Ryan Dumperth, I believe is how he's pronouncing it, the co-host of the Stone Choir podcast. Devised as the result of the devil himself whispering in their ears, the Stone Choir seemingly exists as a vehicle to get attention by stoking hatred of Jews and black folks under the guise of Christian theology to unconvincing and flattering results. The receipts here, the screenshots from the private chats of Ryan are in the article, but suffice it to say, we do not have time on the intelligence briefing to dig into the errors and the overbroad interpretations and honestly comical scripture twisting that goes into what Stone Choir, these two guys, Corey and Ryan, talk about in their basement podcast over at Stone Choir. But it sounds like we're probably going to have to deal with it at some point, considering that Chris Roseborough and Samuel Say, and now I guess coming up, James White of Apologia are going to be chatting with Corey Mahler. And I'd say without digging too deeply into it, it hasn't gone that well so far, which is a shame because his views are comically ridiculous. His scripture twisting is equally ridiculous, and his ways, his methods of argumentation they're lawyerly, but they're pretty bad, to be quite honest. So we'll see what happens with the conversation with James White, I suppose. But suffice to say, we feel comfortable recommending that you mark and avoid both of these idiots. And move on with your life and pay attention to better and more valuable ministries. Next headline at protestia.com, Facebook purges thousands of sermons from site for, quote, violating cybersecurity standards. Multiple churches have reported that their sermons published to Facebook through the sermon audio platform have been purged from the site for violating community standards on cybersecurity, lamenting the loss and the accompanying page strikes that come with it. Days ago, users began reporting that their sermons were removed from Facebook with messages that read, quote, your content couldn't be shared because this link goes against our community standards, and your message couldn't be sent because it includes content that other people on Facebook have reported as abusive. So it sounds like some sort of self-reporting thing that caught up all sermon audio links. I'm not sure. Violations of cybersecurity standards typically involve attempting to gather sensitive user information, engaging in unauthorized access through the platform, and using deceptive or invasive methods to gain access to user data. Punishments for violating standards can result in content removal, account restrictions, and even account suspension. Last time I was looking into this, we reported this yesterday, but as of the last time that I looked into it, it seems like some of this error, some of this mistake, or some of this malicious reporting of sermon audio links has been fixed. Sounds like a lot of it is working at this point. At least that's what sermonaudio.com seemed to be reporting. Read more over at protestia.com. Next headline, beloved Arizona pastor found dead in bed with hands pinned to wall. The Maricopa County Sheriff's Office is investigating the disturbing murder of William Shoneman, a 76-year-old pastor affectionately known as Pastor Bill, after he was found dead in his home on April 28th. The beloved leader of New River Bible Chapel was discovered deceased following a welfare check, with authorities quickly ruling the incident foul play and classifying the case as homicide due to the nature of his injuries. According to sources cited by Fox 10 News, Shoneman was found on the bed with his arms spread out, hands pinned to the wall, and also appeared to have other significant injuries. The sheriff's office has withheld additional specifics regarding the ongoing investigation, including information about potential suspects. We have a link over to the Fox 10 reporting at protestia.com. Next headline, Prophet Micah Turner says an angel walked in on him pooping and talked to him about his floaters. I wish I could say I was making this up. Micah Turner is the pastor of prophetic ministry at Vineyard Church Northwest in Cincinnati, Ohio, and the founder of Behold Wonder, the author of The Invitation, Encounters to Help You Enter Christ's Inner Sanctum. Turner is regarded by those within his church as a prophet and, quote, seer, a man who can see angels and demons and the workings of the spiritual realm, all to fantastical ends. Within the charismatic camp, there are few people who have made as many unbelievable and ridiculous claims as Turner has. Some of his more audacious claims include that every Easter the Lord takes him to hell against his will, that God allowed him to sit in front of demons and asked him questions, that he went to heaven where he sat on God the Father's lap and played with God's beard, that God the Father goes for walks around heaven, and that he likes to eat spicy food, whereas Jesus has a sweet tooth, that God took him back to Genesis where he watched Adam and Eve created, and that he spoke to Abraham Lincoln, whether in heaven or after being time traveled back to the 19th century. Unclear which one it is, But here's an example saying here, I'm wearing a Spider-Man shirt in honor of Jesus today. He does not have to dress like a king. He can dress in normal attire, but clothing in heaven is not the result of shame, but intimacy with God, that it's so strong it manifests on your body. He says God's favorite Marvel character is Spider-Man. And he's serious. He was laying under his covers when Jesus appeared right under the covers with him. On a story, says Micah Turner, he looked at me with his hazel eyes with a cheerful smile and said, Can I lay here and read with you? I gave him my pillow and went to bed and kept reading. Okay. Yeah. So on and so forth. You can read more of this insanity over at protestia.com if you dare. But yeah, suffice to say, this is pretty normal from the extreme charismatic camp. Next headline at protestia.com. Pastor Mike Todd under fire for feminine preaching attire. You can see it's in the picture to your right. Pastor Mike Todd of Transformation Church has come under fire for a strange and unflattering outfit he wore during his sermon series, Mustard, the Seed That Can Change Everything, with many people on social media noting that his disastrous choice distracted from any message he was trying to preach. You can see Jason Whitlock of The Blaze saying, Mike Todd is an abomination. This is sad. Yeah. And K-Dub True, what is Mike wearing? Bell bottoms, high heels, and a mustard shirt. Even the Christian Post addressed his provocative style, referencing his outfit as something an auntie might wear. Or an auntie, I guess, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Yeah, you can read more about this over at Protestia. We do have a list of links and other background research material if you are unfamiliar with Mike Todd and Transformation Church. Last headline for this intelligence briefing. Pastor John Gray makes TMI remarks about his sex life. TMI means too much information. Warning if you have kids watching this video. I don't know what's going to come down the article, so fair warning if you need to pause this or send the kids to the other room. John Gray is the lead co-pastor of Love Story Church, formerly Relentless Church, a non-denominational megachurch in Greenville, South Carolina, best known for wearing expensive clothing, making the news for one controversy after another, and being the center of multiple cheating scandals over many years. While these infidelity scandals invariably see him tearing up in front of his congregation for his indiscretions and asking for forgiveness, they in turn have become mostly used to it and apparently unbothered by it at this point. He recently appeared on the 5th anniversary episode of the Dear Future Wifey podcast, along with his wife and co-pastor, quote-unquote, Aventer Gray, where he performatively sought to scrounge up some pity by pointing to his childhood trauma as the impetus for his inability to be faithful and keep his hands and his heart to himself. He insists that he only did it because he couldn't love himself and that he wanted to kill himself for his actions, which in this context seems like a means to manipulate and garner sympathy. We have the quotes over at protestia.com, but we'll listen in a little bit for ourselves.
Do you really know what it's like to cry every night while your wife is asleep talking about, I don't know how to love her, I don't know how to raise these kids, I don't even know how to raise me, I don't even know who I am. I'm 50 and I'm 12.
Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo.
I'm not going to let the devil that killed my father and my uncles and my cousins get me, and I sure as hell ain't gonna let him get my son. My son will be a better man than me. He will be whole. He will be free. He will be a faithful husband that will not be unfaithful in his marriage, verbally or sexually. This woman is the only woman I've been inside of, and when I'm thirsty, I drink her.
All right, a little too much. Kind of gross, man. Inappropriate.
I stopped tasting things that didn't belong to me.
All right, hang on a second. Flag on the play. We shouldn't be surprised that somebody who talks this explicitly in mixed company about the sexual activity between him and his wife would, potentially be susceptible to walking out on her. It shouldn't be a surprise at all. In fact, it makes perfect sense. I think that's going to have to do it for this episode of the Intelligence Briefing. I'm not sure I can go much further. And fortunately, that's the last headline. Thank you for tuning in to the Intelligence Briefing from Protestia.com. Stay tuned to Protestia for all of your latest in Christian polemics and discernment news. We'll see you again next time. As always, Semper Reformanda.